topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Good evening, and welcome to another segment of Setting It Straight with Miss Gray. Hallelujah. In the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. Welcome to all 1,000 social media platforms. We welcome all of you, morning, noon, or night. I don't know if you're joining me from Singapore or if you're joining us from Tokyo, but wherever it is, we're on and we're going to set it straight tonight, but I can't do it alone. I've got my most wonderful, most reliable, and dependable co-host. I've got Trey from all the way from Virginia. Trey, how's it doing up there? Is it warmer?
Doing well. Is it what?
Is it warmer up there now?
It's getting there. This weather is crazy. It's like a roller coaster. I think we were in our maybe 50s, hot, low 60s today, and it's supposed to be 80 on Thursday, I believe. Our weather is really like up and down. It was cold as Dickens on Saturday, so.
Wow. Well, we can relate because it's cold when I get up in the morning. I put my little clothes on, a little turtleneck. Here we go. By the time I get to the garage and drive the car out of the garage, it's 72 degrees. I don't understand it to save my life. It's a scary thing. It's really scary. And of course, I have my girl. She's not really down the street, but I can get her. She can get here in a great time. Tommy.
Hey.
How are you? I know people probably say, she really needs to stop trying to sing. I know, because you lose it if you don't use it. You right. Really will. You will lose it if you don't use it. So I try, but I got you. But everybody's doing good. Tommy, you had a good week this week. Good weekend.
I did. I really did. I rested and was good.
Amen. And you got to rest. You got to take out time. Self-care is all about resting too. And making sure you're going to that third realm of sleep. Well, anyway, I was looking back at our title of the show for tonight, and it said still walking down memory lane. But I looked at it, the Holy Spirit had me to look at it a little differently. Our intentions were, we're going to continue the conversation from the first of the month, our first Monday night on the 6th. So we're still walking down that. We're still discussing, but then that's what the intention was. But God showed me and said to me, so you're still walking. You're still walking down the memories. And I'm like, whoa. And we don't mean to repeat stuff. We don't mean to keep you in a rut. We don't mean we're going to get past. We're all about solution focus here. We're all about making it a better day, doing better than we were yesterday. And we want to see people, and we are about change. We want to see the change in you. And we hope that you will embrace that. So we want to talk further tonight about, race issue, Black history. And as you know, right now, it's a hot topic because of what's going on in the world, not only in the United States, not only in Africa, but in other countries as well, when race is an issue. And so, now we got to get out of the rut. We got to figure out, or it's not even figuring out. It's you, each and every one of us, making the determination, making the commitment that, you know what? I don't like this. So let me see what I can do. Okay? So let me see how I can make a difference. And not everybody, is supposed to be, not everybody was born to make the big difference and, be, the hoo-ha of the times and all that kind of stuff. No. But each and every one of us as a human being should be making choices that will not only better you and better your family and your legacy, but the people around you as well. So we could continue to talk about the back in the day, but I'm beyond the back in the day now. What are we going to do now? What do we need to be teaching the younger people now, the kids now? A few years ago, some elementary school kids didn't know who Dr. King was. Scared me half to death. I said, oh God, Jesus is coming soon. He's coming, because y'all don't even know. You don't know who Dr. King. Yeah, and it was true. They were like, and I know some of the teachers, they do Black History Month and they talk about the same people, but we've got thousands of people who have died, whose shoulders we stand on today, and if it wasn't for them. So I want now an audience, if you're out there, type in some comments. What do we need to say now? What should Black history look like now? I'm gonna throw a couple of questions out there, and ladies, then I'm gonna remove, get off here and let you chat. If we were to come up with a theory about race and racism, Black history, what should that sound like? What should that include? What should it exclude? I just really, we need to stop and think about that, because we have to create something. We have to have a story. We have to have that narrative. And we should all kind of be on one accord. I don't care what ethnic group you come from, unless you've been traumatized by someone of a different race. And that takes some soul searching. Why is it that you don't like Black people? Why is it that you don't like Asian people? Why is it that you don't like white people? Where did it come from? Was it just, where did it come from? Okay, Tommy, go ahead.
From our last show, and I was telling you all about how Dr. Miles Monroe was talking, and how he ministered on how racism is ignorance, but it's taught. You're not born with it. You have no knowledge that you are of a different race. All you see is another person, and possibly you all get along. But a lot of this racism, I think, today is just pure fear. Pure fear. And why I say pure fear, for the simple fact of the matter, I heard a statistics one just a few years back, and they was saying how the pure white, in other words, your mom and your dad both were white, so they considered you pure white. That was diminishing, that was slowly becoming a minority instead of the majority. And I'm saying to myself, but America is a melting pot. So why wouldn't there be interracial marriages and children coming about or whatever? And it's just the point that they are afraid somehow that they were going to lose control. So, in that aspect, I say this ignorance keep going on and continuing the vicious cycle it has because of fear. I could be wrong, but that fear caused you to teach that son or that daughter, you don't mess with them. You don't go, but they could be some of the nicest people you could ever meet. And it's been proven time and time again that we of African descent or black people, Negroes, however you want to call us, we're the most forgiving and loving people that will accept anybody. Just because Gerald came home with anime and looking at anime and she not the same, but then mama like, well, if he love her, we love her. And everybody embrace her in. But that's not the same on the flip side. So that shows right there, ignorance is being taught. Some accept it and some of them don't. Trey?
Well, I think I agree with you, Tommy. And I think that's long ago too, fear, because, when you pass down stories of what your perception of a particular race is just because your experience was negative with one person or a few people. People have tendencies to say, okay, because I was wronged by this group, then all of them are the same. But, you have to look at it too. If I, a person of color, was violated by a person of color in my same race, does that mean I need to hate my race because of that one person? You look at the person individually, the person that did you wrong. And so that's the unfortunate thing. And I think people are afraid to step out because of things that they heard about particular races. And if I'm not mistaken, I think my dad had gone overseas one time, or a story, he was in a service. And when Black folks started going over to this particular country, people were looking for them because they were told that Black folks had tails. And so they were looking for a tail. And yeah, and so when you do that, you don't, I guess you're afraid to explore because of the stories that you've heard. And it makes it difficult for some folks to want to step out of their fear zone to actually learn for themselves. And I remember in college, I went to Cheney, first HBCU, and I remember hearing some of the football players going to some places, and there were people, white people that never seen people of color, and they started rubbing the skin of the football players to see if it would come off. And this was in the 80s. And so my thing is, when you're far removed, when you're not exposed to people of other races, and all you have are the things that you hear about, it makes folks leery. And that's why one of the things too, I tell people, look at your Facebook friends list. Look at the people you associate with. If they all look like you, it's something wrong. You know what I mean? It's something wrong. There should be some diversity in the people that you meet with. That not necessarily got to be friends with everybody, whether in your work setting, whether or not, in your neighborhood, whether or not you go to the grocery store and you feel comfortable speaking to, this person or that person. You really have to be in tune to yourself and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What has this person done that's making me fearful? And so, and then you start falling into stereotypes of what you hear. This particular group does this, and that particular group does that. And when you start basis without getting to know someone, it kind of puts you in a place that you shouldn't be. Alicia, I don't know if you remember when they started doing the cultural competency in Palm Beach County. that initiative of trying to get people to recognize their own prejudices. And so, I think being in tune with self first, and then also starting with self, willing to learn more. Whether if you don't have interactions with other folks, read about it. There is all sorts of information on Google. You don't have to go far. You don't have to go to a library. If you got to go on Google and Google, different things, or go to groups where other, places where other people interact. And I remember as a time there were certain places we didn't go in Virginia simply because it was advised that we not be there, or the danger level is increased based on your race, and so you kind of had to take a chance. So, like I said, I don't know why people don't like other folks.
Well, now that we have that, I'm going to agree with both of you. It is fear. So now what do we do about it? Do you take it on? Do you conquer it? Or do you let it rule you? Because hell is made up of all kinds of folk. You ain't gonna get away from me. If you say you're going to heaven and you striving, that's diversity up there. That's diversity. So and if you're not, if you go into the other place, they down there too. Everybody down there. Everybody down there. So now, where do we go from here? We know all the history now. We got it down pat. We got it Virginia style. We got it Florida style. We got it Jacksonville. We got West Palm Beach. We got Boca Raton style. We got it all now. We got it done. LA style. We got it. We got it now. Okay. So now, where do we go from here? Well, it's going to take you taking a look at yourself and making a resolution. Now, some people like to live in the past. So there's going to be a cluster of folk, no matter what we tell them, no matter what we say, they're going to live in the past. And we're going to let you stay there. We're going to see, Jazz is agreeing with me. We're going to let you stay there, okay? Then there are people who say, you know what? I want something new, something fresh. Let me start with those people. Let's talk. What's going to be fresh? What needs to be different now? Because 2020 happened to us all. There was no racial inclination. There was no caste or societal level. It shut the world down. And we are still ricocheting from that. Shortages are affecting everybody. Illnesses and death are affecting everybody. Rationing is affecting everybody. High inflation, high interest rates affecting everybody. So what do we do now? Because technically, we're kind of all on the same playing field. Some of us may have a little bit more, maybe we don't. But where do we go from here now? What decision do you need to make? I'm a change agent. So I like change. I embrace change. I love changing, but I live it. Have to, because I don't like to be stuck. I don't like to come up when there's a fork in the road. I'm like, God, I look up. Which way we going? Which way we going? So now let's start, not a new chapter, not another chapter. Can we start a new book? Can we start a new book? We're at volume 202 now. So can we start a new book? Everybody wants to say that's another chapter. No. When do we end the book and create a new one? New chapters, new pictures, new narratives, new dialogue. I do have to say this though. Societal ills are not going away, but we can put a dent in them. Trey, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just thinking because I remember when it was a rise, uptick in police brutality, recently. And, and I had a friend on Facebook, and I really appreciate her doing that. She messaged me, and it was, I forgot, I forgot what it was. It was something related to the police brutality, but something else, another terminology. And she was not, she was Caucasian lady. And she asked me, why is this? Or did she miss something? You know what I mean? She wanted clarification, and I just messaged her back. And she was a colleague of mine here. Very nice lady. You know what I'm saying? Sweet lady. And I was just appreciated her asking, because she wanted clarification. And so if you don't know, then ask. And I think I bounced around with something, maybe us getting the circles together, my circle with people in her circle, and, and maybe just having dialogue amongst yourself first. What do you want to know? What is it that you're pressing? Facts versus myths, and just think about yourself. Think about it too. The bigger picture. I like to be solution focused. And sometimes it doesn't come easy. Things happen a certain way. But just thinking about what could possibly be the benefits of me getting to know about other cultures or other people, getting to know other people in the neighborhood, or those types of things. The benefits could be extra resources, learning about things that you probably wouldn't even think about, and I think sometimes too, you don't know what you don't know until you learn you didn't know it. And so just starting conversations with that, it doesn't start with a whole lot of folks. Just you bring a couple people, and they bring a couple people that are different, and say, okay, first of all, let's identify what we have in common. What is it you like to do? Do you enjoy the beach? Do you enjoy the movies? Do you enjoy reading? What do you like to read? What do you like to watch? Do you enjoy family? What are some of the values in your family? What are some of the things that you taught your family you want your kids to be? And I'm pretty sure if we started doing that, having conversations, there will be more things in common than not. Then you could talk about if that what blows your dress up, what are the fears of you knowing about other cultures? But if you think about what could be a fear about knowing about another culture, that's something that I don't know what could make you fearful about knowing. You'd want to know about your enemies. Why wouldn't you want to know about another culture that could teach them to say, wow, I didn't think about that. Oh, wow, this is unique. Wow, how do I know more about that? But it won't start if people stay in their little shell and don't want to ask questions or don't want to engage with other folks. To me, you could put me in a room with pretty much anybody and I will be okay, as long as it's not demons. You know what I'm saying? Long as I know you're not out to harm me and do something to me. But I can carry a conversation with anyone because there is something in common with everybody. Whether music, you like to dance, this is my music, I dance to your music, So I think that's a start. And I maybe at family reunions and family get-togethers, that could be a topic that families can say, hey, they can do a culture night. Let's bring in something so we can learn as a family about another culture, if that's a unique way of doing something. Or let's as a family go to this type of restaurant and try this out. So I'm just throwing some things out. I don't know where it could start or where the new chapter will begin, but that's my view on where it could start.
And that's the new chapter I'm talking about. Go ahead, Tommy. I'm sorry.
I would love to piggyback off of what Trey just said for the simple reason. And my thought when you were saying what you were saying, Ms. Gray, how often do we allow our children to go out of their backyard? Our children sometimes behave a certain way because they don't know no better. Nobody has taken them out, I'm gonna say outside the door, because these days these kids are in the house playing that game. Now, granted, some of these kids have gotten very technical, where they're able to play these games with other children out of the country and everywhere. But that's still not teaching them how to talk and mingle and conversate with other culture of children. Now, yes, they might have that in common, but what else? If that's all you know, that's all you can talk about. That could be the start of a conversation in order to build a relationship, because that's the problem with the world. There's no interracial relationship. We're not building relationship with other cultures. Like you said, learning their culture, learning their food, learning different aspects of how they were raised, and as opposed to what you were raised. You know, we didn't come from a family that mama said, well, I cook this and this is what's on the table, you eat it. We didn't come from, other people come from, well, my mama cooked me some french fries and her some chicken nuggets, and her, we don't know nothing about that dynamic of multiple foods on the table other than what's placed on the table. Now, we did come up where we had the two meats, the starches, the veggies, the dessert and all that. But outside of that, you ate everything that was on that table. If you didn't, you go hungry. Wherein somebody else's household, and I'm not specifying a culture or a race, but their mom would say, well, just eat you don't have to eat that. Go ahead and eat your peanut butter and jelly. Or the mama always cook them noodles or macaroni and cheese, because that's all they gonna eat. That's not how we were raised. You ate whatever was on the table. So that's the difference in different cultures and different ways of being raised. But too often, our children have never been exposed to traveling outside of their backyard, to when they get up the street and something happened, they nervous, scared, and they react because they don't know no better. And we're not teaching our children how to do better and know better. If we start teaching that, that could make a big change in culture, in races, and all. No, we're not going to get no Pacific race. They're going to say, well, yeah, you just got to love them where they at. That ain't going to happen. But we have to learn about, like you said, each other, learn the culture, starting with your, like you say, your family reunion. Bring in a different dish than our greens, macaroni and cheese, and bring some pasta and some ravioli, homemade ravioli, and different things that different cultures eat. It put a different taste in your palate, and you never know your palate like it or not. So it's like, let's give our children more exposure to the outside world besides what's in our backyard. Because a lot of times what was in our backyard is all we knew. That's all we knew. And whether we realize it or not, we shelter our children like that. We shelter our children like that. We didn't go, and they wasn't supposed to go. We went to work at the mill, that's where you supposed to go. But when our kids start saying, I want to be more educated and go to school, something had to change. And one of those parents had to be the bigger one to say, let that child experience what's out there. Because a lot of times, both of the parents might have said, no, you stay right here in this backyard. We go to the mill, we come home. We go to church, we come home. We go to the grocery store and we come home. We all go to the movies at the same time and we come back home. And that's sheltering your child, not allowing them to experience what's more out there. And that becomes a lot of our downfall, I think. That's just me. I like to give exposure.
Well, I thank you all. You both are saying everything correct. And I love the idea of creating circles of conversation where we're going to build off of it. We're coming in with commitments. I'm going to learn something different today. I am going to be able to, hopefully I can provide, I can share something that will enlighten someone else along the way. I'm not trying to disciple people. I'm not trying to get a group, get a clique, make new friends. No, I'm just saying, let's look at things. Let's go forward now, because we need to heal as a society. We need to heal, and we got to work together. We have to work together. You need to step outside in your neighborhood, on your street, look up and down the street, and first see what yards are overgrown with weeds and grass. Because that tells you someone is no longer there, tending to their yard. Start there. Go knock on the door. Are you okay? Haven't seen so-and-so in a minute. Start right there. Just your street alone. You're not trying to make friends. You're not getting anybody's business. Some people made, like, what are you doing? No, look, I've been here 5 years. You never spoke. And I apologize for that. But I just need to make sure everybody on this street is okay today. Start somewhere. That's the whole point. Start. Jesus changed the world with 12 disciples, including one that was a betrayer. So like Trey said, it don't take a whole lot. We don't need a whole lot of people in the room. And I have a theory God gave me long before Governor DeSantis here in Florida made his announcement on what he's doing as far as critical race theory and Black American studies. And it's only going to take about 7 people. I need 7 people in a room for 3 days. We'll have our meals catered. We won't leave until it's over. And we're going to talk about what are the top, and we're going to come to the meeting prepared. We're not going to sit there and waste the first 45 minutes of the meeting. Okay, try to figure out, okay, what we doing? No. You're going to come with the homework done. And you're going to come, and this is just what God gave me. So, yeah, 7 people. One's going to be a scribe. One is going to have the Post-its, the wall Post-its, adhesives all over the wall, because we're going to be talking, and that person's got to be writing. And we're going to come. Our assignment will be, we're going to have an educator there. We're going to have a social worker there. I need a fiscal analyst person, a super accountant who knows nonprofit, for-profit, education, administrative, budgeting type stuff and percentage. And so we can create a budget. I need a rabbi there. I'm not sure if I want a preacher yet. I ain't see a preacher. I need somebody who majored in education there. And somebody who's a historian, who loves history there. And we'll have a security guard there too, to make sure we stay inside the room. That's all we do. That's all you're going to do. Okay. And the homework will be, what are the top 5 issues or subtopics that need to be taught on culturalism? We could and we'll start with Black American culture first. What's the top 5 that needs elements, ingredients that need to be taught, whether it's in high school, elementary school, or college, about Black American culture? So we're going to bring, all of us going to bring out 5 different points, right? And we're going to have the scribe write them down, all right? And then we're going to have the scribe use a different marker. What are the commonalities? Do we have any commonalities? Okay, we're going to circle those, because they're going to begin the foundation. We out of all of us, we came up with 3 that were common. And then let's look at 2 more. We're only going to do 5. We're only going to do 5. And then we're going to build on that information. We're going to build the content right then in those 2.5 days, 3 days. It's going to be 3 days. We're not walking away. We can go upstairs and go to our hotel room, come right back down the next morning. We'll eat breakfast, we'll eat lunch, and we'll eat dinner together. We're going to stay locked in that room. So when we emerge on the 3rd day in the evening, we will have a document that could go from there. And it's going to have the goals, objectives, what's the intent of the learn, what's the everything. But it's going to be agreed upon by some leaders who we don't know. But they'll have the background of education, social work, religion, history, finances, that's the economic piece. And we'll come up with a budget. How much should it cost to teach this? Elementary school, post-secondary, college, graduate school. And then we'll take it to the government. We'll take it to Tallahassee. We'll take it to the different states that we come from. And they're not going to all be Floridians. We're going to pull them from a couple other states, few other states. Bring your resource, bring what you know, bring what you were raised around. We're not going to go off topic. We're going to stay on topic because we'll have to stay in that room until we achieve certain agenda items. Ain't nobody cussing, ain't nobody fussing, ain't nobody doing it. We'll have plenty of coffee for the coffee drinkers. You know that people do. We'll have our bathroom breaks. But we're going to have a conversation and we're going to come to a consensus that we can live with. And then it'll be presented and we go from there. Because right now the world is wide open. I just told somebody the other day, write your book. Write your training manual. The world is wide open. People are reading anything and everything now. Nobody's being picky about this. Oh, I wouldn't read that. Everybody, even they're going back into the libraries and pulling out books that we've read since Huckleberry Finn. Come on now. To Kill a Mockingbird. Come on now. Now you want to eliminate it and do a bonfire with it. What? Come on now. Get a hold of yourself. Now that's my thing on dealing with theories, because I come from the school of social work. Everything we do is built on a theory. And we just had homework assignments this week. Social work began from a charitable perspective back in 1858. So we've been around a long time. It's evolved into something over time that set the rubric and the best practices that we display today. It was a theory. It was a theory. And somebody built upon the theory. So don't get scared about critical race theory because it was how it was originally presented. You're thinking that we're going to just expose all the white people. And we're going to blame all the white people for everything we've been through. That's not it. But we got a theory. And no history book really has gotten it straight. So we're going to have that in the archive. But we're going to start today, 2023. What does race theory look like now? What should it look like? What should it include? I mentioned in class that if we were to rewrite social work standards, best practices, evidence-based, 2020 would have to stand by itself. Because what happened to the world in 2020 dumped a whole load of, oh my God, on the school of social work, on social workers, therapists out there. Now we don't know where it's coming from. At least before we knew you were court ordered for depression. We knew you were court ordered for, now we don't even, COVID. All people say now COVID. COVID happened. And this what made me this way. I'm like, okay, here we go. I got to talk about COVID again. So we have to start somewhere. History is history for a reason. Let's start. It's not a clean slate, but let's start a new slate with the determination and we're not here to satisfy people. That's another thing with the 7 people in the room. We're not here to satisfy. But I want to hear what you have to say. I'm going to look at your points, and you're going to be surprised. I think, Trey, you said it earlier. We may have more in common than we thought. That's what's going to surprise people. But you got to take the angst out of it. You got to take the anger, speaking out of turn, being rude. No. We're all committed here. That's the one thing we have in common. In the book of Acts, after Jesus went on to heaven, the disciples and thousands were gathered in the upper room. Holy Spirit didn't fall until they all were what? On one accord. That's when the fire of heaven fell. That's where you will be productive. That's where, when you're on one accord. And I know that new term, what, agree to disagree, and I get it. Y'all, people just try to make everything so fluffy and light because you just don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Well, see, I can't lie down. So be careful when you call me and ask me a question because I can't lie. I can't even dance around it. I can't say, can I ask another question? I can't even do that. You call me, you going to, whatever the Lord tell me to tell you, I'm telling you. And I know it hurts some people because it's raw. It's raw. Trey, talk to me.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking about, if you look at it, I mean, everybody's goals pretty much are the same when you're talking about folks wanting to have a place to live, folks wanting clothes to wear, shelter, money, food, betterment for their families. If you look at it, I mean, some people prefer to be homeless, some. I mean, and that's broad because I don't want people to think, oh, people on the corner, that's not legitimate. You have a lot of folks that are homeless. And homeless looks different, families. Sometimes you might see one person, but they have a family of 8 that they're supporting. So, when you take that out, but everybody has some type of need to make sure that they make it, that they're able to have some type of food that day. Some are more fortunate, they can have 3 meals. And some are lucky to get one piece of a meal. And so, and if you break that down, the hierarchy of needs right there. I mean, who doesn't want to say they want to have better for their families, their children? Whether you get your job this way or you get your job that way. If you break it down, everybody wants better. So, if you start there and then expound on that, elaborate and explore from there. And then maybe Johnny on the block over here meets, Langston, who's in Wall Street. Look, man, let me tell you how to get off of this street. This is what you can do. These are options. And because my thing is, we used to try to do it all the time. If you could sit there and sell on a corner, you could be a salesman, you could be an entrepreneur to get you off of that corner, because it takes patience. If everybody's doing it, you're not going to get but so much. Also, you got to watch out for the police. You got to watch out. People know that you're doing that. So it becomes a safety factor. But if you take that same mentality and say, look, instead of you doing this, let me show you how you can legitimately make some money, make it work from you. Then you don't have to face the risk of being incarcerated for doing this. And right now, the way things going, instead of you selling it, why don't you research it and get a dispensary? You mean, because it's now legal in a lot of places and they're capitalizing on it. So whereas this used to be a charge, it's no longer. And just teaching is changing of the mindset there. You know what I'm saying? Then you look at your land, see what it takes for you to be able to grow it, since this is what you like to do, and do it the legal way. And once you start opening doors to people to see, okay, let's turn this negative act into something positive, you start exploring different ways and changing the mindset of things that you or what you can do.
Go ahead, Tommy.
I heard that years and years ago that if they had legalized marijuana a long time ago, a lot of people wouldn't be smoking it, because sometimes it's the thrill of doing something illegal and trying to get away with it. And if they legalize it, they tax it, they make money. If they were that meaningful to use it, they were going to pay for it. And just like cigarettes today, they tax it. And oh my God, look how much it is for a cigarette today. And people still smoke. They still smoke. But today, I agree with everything you said. But like Miss Gray said, we got to get a change of mindset. We got to get a change of wanting to do better. We gotta make a change in our backyards and our neighborhoods, how we're teaching our children. We gotta start there before we start taking them out of the backyard. Because, like you said, we can get on Google and they can see all kinds of new and different things. It broadens their horizon. It broadens them wanting to learn more and do more and see more and see that you can do it legal and you don't have to be looking behind your back for what you're doing. And unfortunately, I know some family members that did it the illegal way and they ain't go no further than their carport. But you got all this money. You ain't never been to Red Lobster? Come on. When you get it, what do you do with it? You end up burning it back into somebody else's hand. So I'm all for change. I love change. Good change, I love it. Now there's some things I say it wasn't broke, so why are we trying to fix it? But then there are things that we do need to break to make a difference. We need to break it to make the change. And change can be a beautiful thing when you do it with the right motive and the right heart to make the change.
Amen.
But it got to come from the heart.
Yeah. What are your intentions?
Yeah.
What are you hoping for?
Yeah.
Because the poor you'll have with you always. So we know not everybody's we're not expecting the whole world to jump on this. We're gonna still have some those who like to struggle. We got people, the new homeless are finding a way. As long as I can find a place to shower. I think my son was telling me Planet Fitness. As long as you could go anywhere, there's a Planet Fitness all over the world. As long as you got a membership, you can use the showers. You can use the showers. It used to be back in the day, we go to the beach and use the showers. So, I know our time is up and we're gonna end this next week but we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We know you're listening. We know you're there, but we want to hear from you. And we ask that you search your soul. Sit back and have a talk with yourself and see which side of this you come out on. Please have a safe week this week. We'll see you next week. Same time, same station. Bye, y'all.
Bye.